Well, I'm back at Ecclesbourne Glen. I have to say it's the first time I've been here since, July, the first week of July. And I'm going to talk about a few things today. I'm looking at the new build that's perched on Ecclesbourne Glen itself. And I mean, is that an observation point? Or is that an observation point? Lovely view straight onto the English Channel, and in particular the French coastline. Last time probably was the Second World War. We can guess the time before that. Anyway, it's there, and there's a 6-month period lapsed from when it shouldn't have been there. What does that tell us about how things are going to go with this? Okay, let's go and have a look into the Glen. Well, I'm back at the very top of Ecclesbourne Glen, the west side. It's 6 months, literally to the day, since I did a video that everybody, sorry about that, I'm climbing, since I did a video that everybody who's seen it say they were influenced by. And I don't think that was an intention, but if that's the case, then thank you to them. Now, as you can see, the route that I took originally is completely altered, and I'm having to do a lot more climbing. Fortunately, it's fairly dry because it's been a long dry summer, and there's been quite a few foots through here as well. Anyway, as mentioned, this is the western side of the slope, and I don't know if you'd agree with me or not, but it actually looks like you're in some sort of a war zone. Which is interesting because it's on the western side, not on the eastern side of this valley. And admittedly there's been some works done on the eastern side further along, but not much on that slope over there. Whereas this side is a contrast. Anyway, just looking at the ground, I mean, you can see it's waving out, pouring away, and another wet winter, and that'll be seeing more of that go, that's for sure. See if I can do a trek round this spot. Don't want to damage anything. Stand on that, and I'm up. There you are, looking back down from where we've just walked. I can see Sheer Barn in the distance there. That's sprawling, getting ever bigger. Well, there's now only a shed, 2 caravans, and what looks like fencing arrangements of some sort of paddocks or something. All this stuff here. I mean, honestly. Now, if this was the army, we had a look at the new build as we were coming on this particular journey. And I said it was an observation post. And if this was the army doing this, I probably would understand it, really. And mind you, they didn't do it in the Second World War. But for somebody to be claiming that they're actually entertaining people by doing all of this damage, and this is what's literally going on, they're entertaining people and beguiling with the choice that they'll get this impressive view as the price of them turning a blind eye to that. Well, to me, that's a war situation. I can't see any other condition in society where people act so indifferently towards their fellow people, their fellow human beings, their fellow town inhabitants, associates, people they care about. I mean, that is just wanton vandalism. There's no other word you can put it. And as it's been plain to see in previous videos, not only did it destroy that area, but it's also affected further down. I'm heading back now. I haven't been here for 6 months because I couldn't face it. I couldn't actually come here and look at this It makes me physically sick, literally, to see that kind of going on, and to see it all just sort of like pushed under the carpet and ignored, and not brought out publicly the entire weight of what's actually happening here. Now look, I'm back at the top of the stairs again. I'm going to take a brief break, and then I'm going to go further down and have a look further down to see exactly what's moved. So this will help me make the video a little bit shorter for uploading. So in a moment, bye for now. About to go down, but just something to note that the post there, the marker post, is not where it should be actually. It's been moved and slightly twisted to an angle. The fence is shoved further back. It's actually a better arrangement when all is said and done. Now I'm walking down, and you'll recognise that, imagine that this is the first area where there was all the damage, visible damage to the pathway. It's been smoothed out by boots. So the human desire to keep going this route has prevailed, really. But look at that. That's the power of Earth when it's moving. What makes the Earth move? Big question. Looking into the heart of the woodland. There has been slumping here of sorts. More of the tree's branches cut away. It's so sad to see all of this, really. Of course, it's gone completely on this side. Okay. Well, I mean, this was a beautiful canopied pathway which led you down to this bench, which was, I mean, this is a sacred place, and look how sacred it is now. You would never have seen this in the past. I'll clear this up in a minute before I go, but just to have a close-up of the cliffs behind it. When you sat here, you had the whole of Hastings and all of that blocked out permanently. You could sit there and relax and think, and you were really sure to enjoy yourself for at least a space. Now there you go. The yellow pipe is still there. That ground is really bulging now. I'm going to get across it, have a look down the slope. There's that yellow pipe. It's dipping down now, whereas before it was virtually horizontal. Now it's got a slight angle to it. And you can see that this is breaking away. I'm not going to go up there because it's fairly obvious really what's going on here. This lot's all waiting to come down. It's just a move-in process basically. Now this is the result because somebody in the West, or people in the West, were beguiled, so beguiled by the view of the East that they did things to the West imperceptibly, which everybody thought, yeah, that's all right, and which have turned out actually not to be all right at all, because the outcome has been this utter destruction. And there has to be an analogy there somewhere about this East-West thing. I can't think of one. Maybe you can. Maybe you know the news as well as I do. Maybe you watch the news. Maybe you're clued up. I want to take a break from here. Make this another shorter video to add to a longer tag to a longer one. And I'm going to go and have a look at another part of this from another viewpoint. See if we can shed a little bit more light on things before we call it a day. Well, I'm at the foot of the actual landslip as it appeared onto the main footpath. So it's drifted down here. I think I did a video about this in July again. One of the last videos I did. Again, vegetation's there and you see there's obviously dead trees. But some of them are clinging on in there, which is nice because the birds will appreciate the berries and all of that. Isn't nature marvellous? It's somehow smoothed this all over, as if it was just another event. And we should be so grateful that nature takes that view with us. Because many other things would have given up by now. There's looking back up towards our yellow pipe, and the other one you can see hanging down. I'm getting nearer that view now, of the edge of that cliff. The famous cliff face. I go very quiet when I come here because you feel as if you're on a graveyard, really. I know that sounds a strange thing to say, but a lot of this stuff is dying, and also it knows it's on its way out in terms of existing for any more length of time. There's these pipes. I've had one up the middle of the pipes. It's not worth doing it again, I don't think, although it's a lot more easy. There's mud up there, but beyond the mud there's a rather darker material, and what that is another story. It's not too easy to get up with it. Right. I'll do that with it so that I'm not interfering with the light. I suppose you could always do spectral analysis shots of the contents. That's one way of ascertaining what was in that. Let's break out. I'm on my way to the top, but before I got up there I thought, look, this is how this side of the West Hill, the west side of the Ecclesbourne Glen, I'll put it that way, this is how it actually looked up until, as I mentioned in the first video of this series, it looked about 4 years ago. Now 4 years is not a lot of time, but that's more or less the eye line that you had there. And if you notice it very closely, it's all vegetation. That's all there is there. Anyway, I'm on my way to the top. Well, I'm on the very tour of the east descent of Ecclesbourne Glen. That's a bench that is very popular. And I'm looking across, and the first thing I hope you'll notice, and I can't zoom in and out, I'm sorry about that, but that is nothing like the tree line that I showed you in that last clip, just prior to starting this one, which I shot from further down the east side of the glen. You can see loads of earthworks going, where the landslips occurred. You can see all sorts of shabby looking buildings dotted about, and then a mixture of, above that, of caravans, loads of them. I mean, there's loads of them. 1, 2, 3 tiers. And then a huge block next to that, and that was never there. And then the little farmhouse that was there, I'll just bring that into the picture, into the bottom right hand golden section. And then immediately left of that, going towards the edge of the cliff, this new building, which is nothing more than an observatory. It's an observation post. And I just wish they'd admit it. I wish they'd just tell people what their intentions are and do it that way around, rather than trying to pull all this nonsense out. Because I would say, if you were a person in them caravans, and you've seen all them woodlands being felled and them roads being put down, why on earth didn't you make some sort of a notice of it to, like, the correct authorities? How could you be coming here to this town, our town, on your holidays, and watching something as beautiful as this being despoiled and not have something to say about it? What kind of a person are you? And I'd ask you, if you're watching this video, search your heart, pick the telephone up, ring the police, and tell them what you know about what went on in terms of that development over there. and how it's actually managed to do this in a 3-year period. Because it's shocking. And you're just participating in somebody else's war, what they're doing. And that is warfare. That's what war looks like, whether you like it or not. Now I bet you all them people all over there, they're all going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Well, over this side, they must be all going, Ali Akbar, Ali Akbar. Because what is that? That's not people who love this country and do for God and Queen. They're not English, they're not Scottish, they're not Northern Irish, they're not Welsh. Whatever they are, they're not one of them group of people who constitute what makes the best, the very best of being in this Commonwealth of Nations. So if you were on that caravan park and you're watching this video and you watched all that going on, put your suit on, pick the phone up, ring up the police, ring up Hastings Borough Council and spill the beans. Tell them what you know and tell them how you know it. And I know for a fact at least one guy out there knows what happens in this event. Now I think I mentioned at the beginning of all this, it's 6 months later, literally to the day, and I am in no way appeased by what I've seen and read and heard about and been lied to about what's actually happening about all of this lot over there. In my view, the things that should have happened, people being investigated by the police and put through the court process, that doesn't appear to have happened. But there's time left. And one of the big things that will help everybody is those people who were on that caravan site, who were witness to all of this, instead of hiding and allowing it to happen and being scared to speak, they get the suits on and they speak up for what is good and what was always good and decent about this country. Because I'm on the east slope and I'm not going to shout Ali Akbar and believe in it. And I'm certainly not going to stand on that western slope over there going, oh my God! You can be sure of one thing, that's not what's going to be happening where this western sloped glen is concerned. Ecclesbourne Glen. The heart of England. One of the very most outstanding places within the whole British Isles. And this is what's been allowed to happen to it. I'm not going to swear. I'm going to let you do that with your own minds. Swear hard. Swear that you're going to do something about it. Don't let it all just drift along. Peace and light to everybody. Update, just to go with this little series of these 22nd of September 2014 videos. This was an area that was all just, I think what the term they call it, brushed it. Anyway, they knocked it all down, left that tiny little example of what was previously there. That was a beautiful tree that. Took away the rest of them. And I suppose you could probably say that is what Syria looks like a bit today.